not that into sports, but I did not know that NBA was hiding so much until doing this video. I'm your host, Michaela, and today I'm going to tell you the top 10 secrets the NBA doesn't want you to know. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't already because it really helps us out. But now let's get started. Number 10, Tim Hardaway's homophobic comments. His exact words on the Dan Le Batard on Miami Sports Radio was, quote, "You know, I hate gay people, so I let it be known. I don't like gay people and I don't like to be around gay people. I am homophobic. I don't like it. It shouldn't be in the world or in the United States. Really just a shame he said these things for public consumption. Even back in 2007, that wasn't something you should just say. Even though he wasn't currently in the NBA when he made the remarks, he was still in a very public part of the league. He was scheduled to make a few public appearances during that All-Star weekend after the commissioner, then David Stern, found out. He banned him from the weekend. There were a lot of negative remarks and criticism that he and the league had faced. In the culture we have now, it would have done nothing but negative things for him to come out and say. The NBA wants you to forget that one of its better players was openly homophobic. Number 9, the 19-18 final score game. The lowest scored game in NBA history happened on November 22nd, 1950. The Minneapolis Lakers versus the Fort Wayne Pistons. The Lakers had not lost a home game on their court in over 3 years, and with their 3 big defensive men and their smaller court, it was tough to do so. So the Pistons devised a plan to beat them, kill the clock. From the tip, they stood at half court with the ball until someone came out to guard them. They held the ball for long periods of time, between 3 to 5 minutes. George McCann made all 4 of the Lakers' field goals and 7 free throws, leading the game with 15 points. Bob Harrison made 2 free throws and Jim Poland made 1, totaling 18 points. On the Pistons side of things, John Oldham, Curly Armstrong, Larry Faust, and John Hargis each made 1 field goal, while John Oldham and Fred Schaus each made 1 free throw. Meanwhile, Curly Armstrong and Jack Karras made 3, and Larry Faust made 1 as well. If you were curious why there is a shot clock now, this game was a pretty big turning point in that development. Number 8, LATRELL Sprewell choking his coach. Not many good things came from his career, but this was one of the worst things to come out of it. He is going to be one of the most infamous players to ever put on an NBA jersey. It was during a Warriors practice on December 1st, 1997, that LATRELL Sprewell lost it and started to choke his coach, PJ Carlesimo, for about 10 to 15 seconds before being dragged away. He left and returned later, hitting a glancing blow before being dragged away again. He was originally suspended for 82 games before it was reduced to 68 games. That suspension lost him $6.4 million and a shoe deal with Converse. Sprewell said the punishment was too harsh. He is quoted as saying on 60 Minutes, quote, "I wasn't choking him that hard. I mean, he could breathe." Sprewell never played for the Warriors as he was traded to the Knicks following his reinstatement in 1999. It is safe to say that this won't be fondly remembered in league history. Number 7, guns in the Wizards locker room. It all started over a card game on an airplane ride. When players arrived at the court, Gilbert Arenas had 4 guns on display in his locker. He told Javaris Crittenton to pick one so he could shoot him with it. Javaris responded by saying he already had one, locked, loaded, and pointed right at him. The room that was once full of laughter and conversation had a sudden chill to it, taking them only a few seconds to realize it was real. They ran out and locked the door behind them, except for Karen Butler, who tried to talk calmly to Javaris. Both men then got suspended for the rest of the season. Arenas served 30 days in a halfway house and was out of the NBA for 2 seasons later. Javaris never played in the NBA again and is currently serving a 23-year prison sentence for a gangland shooting gone wrong. This incident essentially ended what had been a turnaround in Washington. Number 6, Michael Jordan gambling issues. He always needs to be in the middle of the action to feel that rush of adrenaline. In 1993, he was spotted gambling in Atlantic City the night before a game against the Knicks. He admitted to losing $165,000 that night. A San Diego businessman claimed Michael Jordan owed him over $1.65 million, and a former teammate, Jay Williams, talked about how MJ used to bet $100,000 on a rock, paper, scissors game. There is even a theory that his exit from the game to play baseball was also a suspension from the league office. The league doesn't want any false notes on their greatest player of all time. This is forever going to be swept under the rug so as to not tarnish his legacy. Number 5, Larry Bird and Dr. J's fight. The Boston Celtics played host to the Philadelphia 76ers. It was supposed to be a huge showdown between Larry Legend and Dr. J. Bird was by far outplaying Dr. J, and he was letting him know about it. Bird was one of the greatest trash talkers of all time. With 1 minute and 36 seconds left in the third quarter, Irving charged at Bird Bird and landed a jab. At one point, players on the 76ers restrained Bird and let Irving get in a few good hits. Both players were ejected and fined a combined $15,000. At the time of the ejection, Dr. J had 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists, while Bird had 42 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. Do you see why Dr. J charged him now? Number 4, Malice in the Palace. Basketball players fighting fans is not a good look. It was just a normal game on November 19, 2004. The Detroit Pistons played host to the Indiana Pacers. The brawl initially began with 45.9 seconds remaining in the game, with the Pacers ahead 97-82. Pistons' Ben Wallace was fouled hard by Ron Artest, who slapped him in the back of the head. Wallace retaliated by shoving Artest in the face with both hands. The benches soon cleared, trying to keep Artest and Wallace apart. Artest laid on the table in an attempt to calm down. While he was laying down, Wallace threw a towel at him, making him sit up. As the coaches held Artest back, a fan, John Green, threw a Diet Coke at him and hit him right in the chest. Artest then jumped off the table, ran into the stands, and grabbed Michael Ryan, who he assumed threw it at him. Soon, Steven Jackson followed him in to help. Players and others raced into the stands to pull them off the fans, and the action spilled onto the court, where more punches were then thrown. Ron Artest was suspended for the season, and 8 other players were also suspended. The suspended players lost over $11 million in salary. This was a very bad look in the NBA and the players. Number 3, the decision. After winning 7 seasons and winning 2 MVPs with the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron was an unrestricted free agent, telling no one what he was going to do or where he was going to play before performing on his live TV broadcast. It was here where the famous saying, "I'm taking my talent to South Beach," came from. He completely abandoned his home and his team to be a ring chaser with Dwayne Wade and company. There were a lot of blowbacks both from the league and fans about the way it was handled. The Cavs went on to go 19-63 in the coming year. It was bad for the entertainment value, and it was bad for the image that is LeBron, turning him into one of the most hated sports figures at the time. Number 2, Delonte West and Gloria James. The supposed love affair between Delonte West and Gloria James hurt the public image of LeBron. It also seriously affected LeBron's ability to play in the 2010 playoffs, getting eliminated in 6 games by the Boston Celtics. LeBron was playing very well in the series and found out that Delonte was allegedly sleeping with his mom prior to Game 4 of the series. It destroyed the team's chemistry and divided them. It also most likely leads to a departure from Cleveland for LeBron. It is a shame that this happened and killed West's career, but it is worse off that it hit the mainstream the way it did, and publicly ridiculed both LeBron and his mother. The NBA is hoping the situation is forgotten and nothing like it happens again. Number 1, Kobe's assault charge. Kobe Bryant was accused of intimately hurting a 19-year-old girl at a hotel in Colorado in 2003. On July 4th, an official arrest warrant was released for Bryant. He immediately flew back to surrender to the police and was immediately released on a $25,000 bond. On the 18th, he was formally charged and held a press conference adamantly denying he hurt her and that it was consensual. There was a lot of discrepancy in both the accusers and Bryant's stories. Before the case was scheduled to go to trial, his accuser filed a civil lawsuit against Bryant of the incident. The two sides ultimately came to a settlement disclosed to the public. Bryant released a statement apologizing to the young girl and the trauma he put her through. He also apologized to her parents and family members for the whole thing. He admitted although he fully believed it to be consensual and she did not. But that is all, and we will see you next time.